Welcome back to Squawk on the Street. Obviously a nice day yesterday for those who were long this market, but not a pretty picture for many of the weeks that led up to yesterday. And in fact, as letters start to go out from hedge funds or even mutual funds describing performance for the month of June or for the first half of 2008, they're not pretty at all. Those letters that I have seen or those that I've heard about in the day-to-day conversations I have with many hedge fund managers and other money managers, not just hedge funds, indicate if you were a value investor, well, there were 3 weeks in June that were probably the worst you may have ever seen, and that is being reflected in some of the performance that we're seeing out there. Of course, it wasn't just the financials, which, as you see, up sharply yesterday. It wasn't just the financials, although many value investors got into those names too early. I mean, think about the likes of a Freddie Mac or a Fannie Mae, where you had some guys saying, oh, I've never seen them so good. And that was when they were at 30. That's right. In the high 20s or 30, you had some well-known value investors saying best buys ever. So sure, the pain has been ample in financials, but it has not just been contained to financials, and that sort of is interesting about why June was such a brutal month. The contagion spread from the financials to other sectors, essentially, perhaps because people were forced to sell financials and or facing redemptions. People are still trying to figure it out. But it did, and there were plenty of value names that went down for no reason, on no news. And perhaps now, as we get into earnings season, those who held on will be justified in doing so because the earnings won't be proved to be that bad. Question here, how many hedge funds are going to fold? I'm not talking about the big guys. If you have a stable capital base and a good reputation, you're going to make it through this period. But if you're a $400 million hedge fund, had a couple of years, but you're down 15% now, you may very well be done. And not a day goes by that I don't hear about hedge funds in that area of the market that are essentially saying, hey, you know what? Can you find a good home for my people? You got any ideas? Because we are more or less done. That's the situation we find ourselves in right now as people get those letters. The good news on the value side, at least the hope is, of course, that things start trading, well, back to value, or at least start reflecting what many believe is the ultimate value of many of the stocks that they bought. June was inexplicable, many say, but they're certainly hoping for a return to better days. We'll see, Aaron, but it will be interesting and painful as those letters start getting sent out. Back to you.
All right, thanks to you, Dave.